Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Brian from Tech Talk. Now, I know you're probably saying it's a little upgrade. Probably saying two things. One, where in the world they've been right here. And secondly, what's going on with all the camera and the speakers and all that stuff? Well, they've been had that. But actually, I kind of upscaled a little bit because what they're doing is they're actually working on a couple of YouTube channels right now. I just wanted to deliver a message, particularly to my Bahamian people, right? I mean, I'm a Bahamian, and I always could look out for my people. The reality is that we are dreamers, right? We dreamers, and we always, for a long time, we've been chasing a vision, a dream, a desire that may have been placed in our hearts by God, or by ourselves, or our spouse, or whoever it may be. And the scary part about it is when we decide to put that on the side and allow somebody else's dream to take the place of the dream that we already had. And that's kind of scary. It's almost like we already have all the tools that we need to be successful. But sometimes what can happen is that something could come in the way, distract us, and then it takes us away from what the actual dream is that we had in our heart. And I know for me personally, I got to that point. So that's why, to be honest, I haven't been doing many videos. Because I was like, well, I'm waiting on something substantial to come through, to come to fruition. And then I could just do my other stuff like that. And then what I realized was that, wait a minute, I losing time. And the goals and the desires I have, they're not even from me. They're from a higher being. And the higher being is giving me the gifts and the resources to make those things come to fruition. Not in a year, or not in 2 years, like literally today. And that's why I started to do the YouTube channel for the audio production thing, because that's really what I do. Audio production, I do technology, financial literacy. These things are my passion, and I could just literally just whip out a camera, start recording, put myself out there. And again, I think we tend to not give ourselves much credit, or we tend to believe that we don't have the ability to achieve on our own, right? And the reality is that there are tons of people making it on their own. I just met with somebody last week who, his brother actually started a company at the age of 65, by the way. He's about probably like 80 now, so probably like 15 years he's been doing it. But the company's worth like $40 million. If I tell you the name of the company, you wouldn't even know, because it's not a daily brand. But it's a $40 million company, and they work with big multi-billion-dollar industries, companies. I met another person that works in another niche industry here, right in Florida where he is. This company probably been around from the 70s, have about 40 employees or so. The company generating some $3 million a month in revenue. And obviously, if they have only 30 to 40 staff members, even if they spending $2 million a month, $1 million a month is still $1 million a month. And what they have is something that they ain't going nowhere. It literally ain't going nowhere. As long as there's mankind on this planet, what they selling is not going anywhere. So I've been reading this book called Company of One. I've been reading this for a couple months, and this morning I finally said, let me pick this back up, because I have a bad habit of picking up books and not finishing them because I'm doing so much things, right? So the reason I got this book is because essentially I'm working on a company of one. Regardless of other investments I have in place, like what I'm doing with this YouTube channel, that's a company of one. I'm working on something else in the IT space, that's a company of one. Like, I don't need other people to do these things. Not saying that I don't need people, but you get what I mean. Like, I literally don't need nobody to hold the camera for me. I don't need anybody to edit it. I could do it all myself. Same thing with the IT stuff. I could do that consulting stuff by myself. So I'm actually building a couple companies of one. And I just like want to leave these with you and think about what I'm saying. So check this out. The first excerpt is on page 65 if you get the book. It says, to start a company of one, you should first figure out the smallest version of your idea and then a way to make it happen quickly. Automation can happen later. Scale, if desired, can happen later. It's another quote. But if what you sell them can help them become profitable, they'll never want to leave your business. So it's basically talking about, hey, if you have a good product that actually able to help other people make money or to save money, then they'll never leave your business, right? It says, another quote on another page says, we often think that we need to have everything in place. So we're talking about basically starting. It says, we often think that we need to have everything in place. We want everything all polished and perfect before we hit publish. But most of the time, this doesn't happen. We live in the real world, right? Most of the time, in fact, waiting until everything is totally perfect can only hurt or delay your launch. Crew, a company that was discussed in chapter 3 of this book, started out with a single form on a one-page website that manually matched businesses with designers and programmers. Over time, as revenue grew, the company was able to create software and automations that help scale the volume of matches. In short, start small. Start with just the smallest version of your idea and a way to make it happen. I'm telling you, if you have an idea today, don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait for the fruition of another thing to come through when you could actually start today. You know, I firmly believe that a higher being has given us these things, and his hope is expecting a harvest from these things that he placed in our heart and mind. And I dare say it'll kind of be a tragedy if we don't become our true self, or we don't become who we could become because we're waiting on somebody to make us become that person, if that makes sense. So, hey, hope this was helpful. Stay tuned to my channel. I actually may pivot it the way I do a lot of education in regards to IT. I'll see, but I gotta finish working on this audio production YouTube channel. But anyway, guys, much love. I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that may be.